Muslim tax that discriminates against Christians. Right? It's not a charity, let's be clear. It's not charity. You have a form of charity in Zakat, I do accept that. But Zakat is a redistributive tax that takes from rich Muslims and gives to poor Muslims.
No,
Yeah.
rich people.
No,
Zakat,
just ignore him.
people.
Just ignore him.
It's
He's
not rich people
just
only.
ignore him. Just focus on the conversation.
Yeah, but like, what's wrong
Yeah,
with that?
Because he's just a troll. Carry
No, I
on.
mean, what's wrong with
It's
Right.
not only for rich
So,
people. It's
what
not
is
Zakat.
what is the alternative for the Christians in the Islamic State? There isn't one. Right? So what we've got in the Islamic State is a whole bunch of
Are
tax.
Muslims allowed to give charity to Christians in the Islamic State?
Zakat can't be given to Christians.
Are they allowed to give sadaqah?
No, who
They
said
can't.
that?
They can give other forms of charity,
what's the
but they can't give zakat. So the reason why it's
But like, if you can give the equivalent amount of money, that's not zakah.
so
then
one
what's the
second.
issue?
Why is it a discriminatory tax?
That's not
Let us
discriminatory.
imagine. No, hold on one second. Let us imagine that in this
Can I, as a
country.
Muslim, give to a church?
So can I finish my point?
Yeah.
So if this country created a tax system.
Look, bro,
The-
I
the-
didn't come for a debate. I
Oh,
just came to say hi.
Yeah, and I'm saying hi. I have said hi.
The tax
I
to
know.
everybody, the poor,
So
the rich,
you just got
the
to ignore
poor
the
people
troll.
that have no money.
He's just
You have to pay
drinks
fucking
too much
tax.
coffee. Drinks too much coffee, and he's swearing in front of kids.
But
So
you
you know,
listen,
like,
I'm sorry for my
so
kids,
so
but
my
you
point
talk
is,
rubbish. Are you
the thing
idiots
is,
for not listening?
in Islamic State, you have, and that unfortunately is how Muslim children are being raised. By
no,
Muslims
no,
like that.
I'm not
He's
having that.
raising his children to think that it is appropriate to abuse Christians. That's the example he just provided to his children, and we wonder why there is such anti-Christian bigotry in the Muslim community. That is why it's happening. That's why there's anti-Christian bigotry amongst Muslims in this country and around the Islamic world.
That's a generalization there.
It also happens to be a fact, my friend.
No, you can't generalize.
Yes, there is
Are you saying
widespread.
there's no Christians around the world that have taught their children to discriminate against Muslims?
I am saying that there is widespread Christophobia in the Muslim community.
I'm not denying that there may be an element of Christophobia in the Muslim community, but you can't deny there's an element of Islamophobia in the Christian community.
So, I mean, I
what's
don't.
the issue?
Well, here's the issue. Because Islam institutes that kind of discrimination. Coming back to zakat. So zakat can only be given it's taken from rich Muslims and given to poor Muslims, right?
Yeah.
In an Islamic state, there is no equivalent redistribution for Christians. The jizya tax is taken from Christians and used for the purposes of the state. It is not redistributed to Christians. And other taxes may be redistributive. Let's be fair. Let's use a hypothetical scenario in which there is a redistributive tax that's given to all citizens that Christians can benefit from. It still results in an extra benefit for the Muslim community that the Christians do not receive.
Jizya is paid by Christians in an Islamic state for the reason and purposes of not needing to participate in the army. So,
Jizya is paid by Christians to humiliate them
No,
and to
that's
enforce
not-
the fact that they are
that's
Shall I show you? I'll show you. Okay? Because unfortunately, the Islam that you want to believe in is
Islam that
not
I do believe in.
the Islam that you want to believe in is not the Islam of your Quran. Because you're a better Muslim than Muhammad. I know you, and I know you're a good human being. Right? I know you're a good human being. And I've said this to you on camera and off camera. Right? That you're better than Muhammad. Have I not said that to you multiple times?
I don't believe it.
But I have said that to you, haven't I? Right? So let's just look at how Muslims impose, right, their understanding of the dhimmi tax. Okay? So in Sahih Muslim, it states, this is all connected to the text of the Quran that talks about the jizya tax, right?
Bro, I need to go now, but I'm happy to have this conversation once I come back.
Yeah.
Gone for like a few minutes.
Yeah, if you need to go, let's come back and have that conversation. But the chances are, by the time you come back, I'll probably be talking with someone else. So maybe me and you can meet, like, for a coffee sometime during the week. You know you can reach me. Can you reach me, or have you lost my contact details?
It was mostly through like the mutual friend.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to reach me through our mutual... or I can give you my contact details and you can reach me that way. Yeah? Have you got something to record it? Because I'll show you that you want to believe in a better religion than your texts allow you to. And that's a credit to you as a human being. That's genuinely a credit to you as a human being. But it doesn't get Islam out of the problem. It just means you're a good man.
There you go.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Get in touch with us, bro. And we'll talk.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy to have a conversation.
Good to see you.
It's just
I know you were just saying hello.
Yeah.
Just saying hello, but I know you can have an intelligent conversation, and I wanted to have an intelligent conversation with you. All right.
I'll be back
If
in a
you're
bit.
free when you come back,
Sure.
come and grab me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you've had a debate with him before.
Who? Yeah, I have had a debate with him. Let's go fight. So the fact of the matter is, guys, right? Muslims keep telling the Western world that Zakat is charity. That's a lie. Zakat is not charity. They are literally lying to you when they say that Zakat is charity. Zakat is a tax. It is a redistributive tax.
All right.
And it is an unfair tax.
Why?
It is a tax of an apartheid system. And why is it an tax of an apartheid system?
Why?
Because it is taken from Muslims, rich Muslims, and it can only be given to poor Muslims. So if you're a Christian in need, you can't receive zakat. So all of you guys that are thinking, isn't it nice that these Muslims are sending their zakat to help the floods in Pakistan or the victims of the earthquake in Turkey, just bear in mind that none of that charity can be given to any of the Christian victims of those disasters. And actually, when the zakat was being redistributed in the floods of Pakistan, what was seen was that the Christians were refused aid. They were denied aid. And that's something that the Western liberals don't want to recognize. They don't want to recognize it because the Western liberals, would you like to have this debate?
Hey,
Come here then.
You're talking about half it.
Half so come here in front of the camera. Come here. If you're going to interrupt my conversation, I'm going to come and talk to you.
I'll give you a clarification.
Right.
We can be cordial sometimes, Bob. Listen, okay? I'll make a.
Can we do this timed?
Yes.
No. I'm literally making a few remarks, and then it's a technical, remark I'm going to make. Is the zakat? You're absolutely right. The zakat is legislated to be given to Muslims only, but we have we have sadaqah, which is a much more frequent zakat given, which is uncapped. So the zakat is 2.5. The sadaqah could be any amount, as frequent as possible, and can be to non-Muslims.
Of the apartheid discriminatory practices of Sharia law. Now he said, ladies and gentlemen, that Muslims do have a form of charity that they can give more liberally, and I don't dispute the point. I totally agree with him. I am aware of that, but that is not my criticism. My criticism is not that Muslims have a form of liberal charity that they can give. My criticism is that Islam has a discriminatory tax called zakat that only can be given to one kind of citizen, the Muslim citizen. And as you've just heard, far from speaking I was speaking fact. 1 minute. Right, 1 minute reply.
Okay, well I never agreed to 1 minute. I've been dragged into this debate because I heard one comment. I don't know any context that preceded or this debate. I don't know if it's a debate or just a speech from Bob. Discussion from Bob. Well, and in fact, I didn't even interject in this conversation. He asked me whether what he said was not my wording, his wording. Not Bob's wording, the cameraman's wording. I said, well, using his word, half, because commonly when people will hear the word zakat, they just translate to charity, and this is not strictly or technically correct. So I just said, let me make a technical correction there, to say zakat is a form of charity. But we have other more liberal and free forms of charity where is uncapped. You can give as much as you want and as frequently as you want. I'm not here to debate or discuss anything else. I was just simply making a correction on Bob's remarks. And yeah, that's all I have to say to this conversation. Thank you very much. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so let me reply. Okay, I'm going to reply to what he said. I'm going to reply to what he said. He said,
Just in case he...
JC, it's fine. JC, it's fine. It's all right, it's not time now. So the point is, ladies and gentlemen...
Siraj! Go away, Siraj! Go away, Siraj!
Siraj, follow me, Siraj. Follow me, Siraj. Follow me, Siraj. Siraj, follow me. Follow me, Siraj. So follow me, Siraj.
When it comes, no. You want to discuss with me? Should be peace. Am I right? You want to discuss with me? Let me ask him still now. He's running away all the time.
Mike, could you just go down there, Mike?
No.
You know, we're having a conversation.
I'm just standing here. I'm not interrupting you.
No problem. I'm with him. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm with him. I want to discuss with him and debate with him, but he doesn't want to. I would like him to vote.
Yeah, this guy, man. Are you interested to listen?
Yeah, I'm listening to you guys.
Good for you. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm here. Don't worry. If he talks, I'm here. I need him. Yeah.
No,
I want him to preach me, but he doesn't want
So
to.
what we're saying,
Yeah, it's got nothing to do.
and who is confused? A big man like him, you know, is coming here.
I'm the same as
But
others.
he just referenced me there. How am I confused? What you're accusing me of?
You're always here.
What
You're
am I
a
confused
troublemaker.
about?
And now he is watching, and then you'll say, "Oh, what are you? What Muslim are you? What you?"
there's only one
and
Muhammad
then, no,
in
that's
Islam.
the one. But this guy, he will tell you, "Oh, you know what?"
But what am I confused about? What's he saying that I'm confused about?
He's just standing there.
What am I
This is my
confused about?
argument here. This is
Go
my
on.
argument
What's your
here.
argument?
If all Muslims, in every Muslim nation and Muslim leaders
Yeah.
acknowledge what the day of Ashura is,
Yeah.
there would have been, corruption wouldn't happen.
So Ashura is the
that's what I want
day
to
of
discuss with
Ali,
you.
wasn't
Come
it?
to my space.
Ashura was the day that...
I'm with him. Ignore him.
No.
You guys can talk.
I get it.
You can talk. I'm with him.
No.
Let's go.
What happened at Ashura?
Let's discuss.
I'm asking you. What happened? What happened?
Mike.
I want him to preach me.
No, I'm not interrupting you. Siraj is interrupting you.
Siraj. Okay, Siraj.
I want
Siraj
him
is the
to
one.
preach me.
Give his space.
Brother,
I want him to preach me.
Okay, I'll do that.
He can't preach me.
What?
You look like this
Oh,
guy. He said,
I'm
he
sorry,
can't preach
Siraj has interrupted your
Shall I ask
dawah.
one question?
That's really bad. Siraj, follow me. Follow me,
no,
Siraj.
no, no.
Siraj, follow me. Follow me,
I got a
Siraj.
question.
Siraj,
I got a question.
follow me, Siraj. Follow me,
I
follow me,
got a
Siraj.
question for you.
Follow me, Siraj.
I got a question.
What
for
are we
you.
asking?
ask him what happened on the day of Ashura. Ask him.
No, you ask him. I don't want to talk to
I'm having
him.
a conversation
I
with my
got
brother.
a question for
Yeah,
you.
go on, I'm listening.
I got a question for you. I'm asking.
But ask him, look, he wants to
No, I don't want to talk to him.
Bro, trust me, he's going to have some...
Taken to
Yeah,
heaven
no,
after
that's
He's going to have some answers for me
after
that's going to make you question.
But
He can debate. He can
chapter
beg.
24,
I know,
verse
debate him,
15.
trust me.
So you
you
debate.
listen to
Jesus
debate.
was taken to
No, I'm
heaven
just not debating him.
the same day after the resurrection.
You can't handle
What
that.
happened on the day of Ashura?
What? I'm asking you what happened on the day. Do you also believe in the day of
Changing the
Ashura?
subject. You're a big man. No,
You were talking about the day of Ashura. I'm asking you, do you believe in the day of Ashura?
No, this guy is
Jesus
just
went
talk
to the
about the
heaven
Shia
after
and
40
Sunni.
days.
Let you have your
Okay,
we
So you don't believe in Shia and
No,
Sunni?
me and him.
Which one do I
Me
believe?
and him, we say it.
Yeah.
It's all come from Islam.
Am I interrupting your conversation? Follow me. Follow me. Sajid,
I want to be Christian.
come and talk to me, bro.
Okay, let's talk.
Come on, let's go over here and talk.
Tell me which Christianity is right.
There's only one
Now
Christianity.
there is many books. I'm confused.
So Christianity is about making yourself a student of Jesus Christ. Every Christian
which
does that.
Christianity?
There's only one.
No, there is Catholic. There is
So
Protestant,
what is it to
there
be a
is-
Christian? What does the
know.
word Christian mean?
I don't know. You tell me.
So I'm going to tell you. So to be a Christian, it was an insult that was given to Christians at Antioch. And literally, in the Greek, it means little Christ. And it referred to the group of people who called themselves the followers of the way. And when they called themselves the followers of the way, they were referring to the fact that they followed Jesus Christ. So that is what it means to be a Christian, to be a follower of Jesus Christ. So that if you want to be a Christian, that's what you need to do. It's
So
not about
What
denominations.
is Jesus following?
So who is Jesus following?
What is Jesus following?
Jesus is bringing a new covenant.
Yeah. What is it?
So that new covenant is the establishment of a church that believes that he is the Messiah prophesied in the Jewish scriptures, and that he was died for our sins and that he rose on the third day.
No, so
That's what
the
Jesus
Jews-
taught.
Jews-
That's what Jesus taught.
Jews.
That's
do they
what
believe
Jesus
this?
taught.
Jews. Do they believe
That's what
they don't-
Jesus believes.
Jews, no, they don't believe.
I don't. That's what Jesus
I'm
believes.
asking
nothing
you,
more.
The Jews,
They don't believe.
Jewish. Do they believe this?
No, they
Some Jews do, yes.
What about the mostly Jews?
What? The majority?
majority.
Is truth decided by vote?
I don't think so.
There we go then. So there are some Jews that believe what I've just said. The first Christians were all Jews. Jesus was a Jew and Jesus taught everything I've just said. And that's what
Are you
Christians
Christian or a
believe.
Jew?
I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian.
Yeah.
how can a religion?
Yeah.
So God was a Jew.
What, sorry?
God, he was a Jew.
Yes, God took to himself humanity and became a Jew, yes. Yeah.
And God,
There was one question.
we need looking after God, huh?
When Jesus was
Raise up.
Raise up.
raised,
Yeah.
who was taking care of the world?
So when Jesus was in the tomb, Jesus was taking care of the world.
How?
And he's died.
Because
How's this
Who
possible?
was
I'm going to answer that question. It's a really easy question. Drink less coffee, guys, you'll learn more.
don't have. You can
Right?
say one.
It's a really simple question. Because Christians, like Muslims, don't believe that death is the end of existence. You don't cease to exist just because you die. When Jesus was dead in the tomb, he continued to exist. And so he continued to order and maintain the world. You as a Muslim believe that people are tortured in their graves. Do you not believe that?
Yeah, we do.
Right, so death isn't the end of existence, is it?
it's not.
So when Christians say that Jesus died, we don't say that he ceased to exist. Your Muslim da'i are lying to you when they make that argument that Christians believe that Jesus died, so who was taking care of the
So he
universe?
wasn't die. He didn't die at all. Then.
He did die, but death is not the end of existence.
He did die, but
You've
you don't believe he was.
you've literally just repeated the same error. Literally just repeated the same error.
Repeat it again. So
Yeah, repeat it again.
He
Repeat
did
it again.
die, but you don't believe he died.
No, listen carefully to what I said,
Okay.
because you clearly didn't listen the first time.
Okay.
Christians, like Muslims, do not believe that death is the end of existence.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
I truly believe that Jesus Christ died according to the flesh.
Okay.
I do not believe that when he died, he ceased to exist. I do not believe that when he died, he ceased to maintain the universe. I believe that when he died a real death, and he continued to maintain the universe.
Okay, wait.
Is your question answered?
Yes.
There you go.
I have a glass of water here, and I'm sleeping. When I'm sleeping, the glass always is going down. If the God die, brother, this earth is shoot down everything. Now, in your concept, you are wrong. My glass here, me fell to sleep, go down, broke.
Completely
When-
false. That's
when
not
Jesus
what we
die,
believe.
How you thinking?
That's not what we
Your earth
believe.
is shoot
No, no,
down,
That's
brother.
what your da'i tell you we
question.
believe, and your da'i are lying to you. Everything that your da'i tell you about Christianity is a lie.
You know the guy Siraj, he had a question. Like he said, the Paul,
Yes? Yes.
he said that Jesus went up in the heavens after 40 days of his death.
Yes.
And while the other guy, I don't know, Matthew or whoever went, Jesus went up after 2 days of his death.
Right.
Which
so,
one is right?
so actually, if you read the New Testament clearly, it states the following.
Okay.
It states that after the resurrection,
Sorry, does these two things come in the Bible?
Yes.
40 days and 2
Yeah,
days?
no, I'm going to literally, if you let me answer your question, you might hear an answer. Like, ask a question and then have the courtesy to listen to the answer. Don't be like Siraj. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you read the New Testament carefully, it clearly states that Christ, after the resurrection, appeared to the apostles for 40 days. Paul says it, the book of Acts says it, it's there in all of Scripture.
What was the Paul?
There's no teaching in the Scripture that after 2 days Christ went to heaven.
The
After
Paul
40
it
days
was
he went
man,
up.
huh?
What Christ says when he is on the cross, he turns to one of the thieves that are going to die with him, and he says, "This day you will be with me in paradise."
Paul,
What is that telling
what
you?
was Paul?
It's telling you that Christ in his divinity has omnipresence, so that even though his body is dead in the tomb, he will be with the thief in paradise. You see, the point of your da'i is what they do is they take a couple of words or a couple of lines out of context, and then they talk to gullible Muslims who don't do any research, and then you repeat to Christians the lies of your da'i.
take it
I
from
challenge
Paul.
you.
It was Paul.
I challenge
Tell me the
you.
Paul.
No, it's in the book. It's in the book. It's in the
Paul,
Gospels.
What's mean Paul?
Listen. Let me say something.
Go on.
Paul is
I
Go
know
on.
that Christianity
Fact
is
check.
corrupted, and there is nothing makes sense on it.
That's a claim.
Yeah, it's,
Where's your proof?
The proof is
That's a claim. Where's your proof?
The proof is the many Old Testament, New Testament.
That's not
New
proof.
Testament, the many books. There
You
is
don't
many
understand.
Books, has so many differentiation, different meaning.
Right, go
whatever.
on, yeah.
Second of all, you can see actually the.
Wait, can we do point by point?
Let me
No,
just-
you made a point. Let me address that
Let
point.
me just say something.
No, you made a point. Let me address that one point.
Say something.
That's fair.
Go on, finish then.
The Christianity actually now is so related to money, and back as well. It's so related to money. That's why nowadays everything is normal.
So that's 2 points. Now let me reply to those 2 points.
Which means
Let me reply to
a
those
man
2 points.
can marry a man.
Right.
They have
It's
their
the-
You're right.
whatever, bishops. Or
So
whatever.
let me reply.
They don't follow the book.
Yeah, exactly. You're
We
right.
have in
You're
the
right,
churches-
brother. You are right.
No, because
He is
it's
wrong.
clearly in the book.
You are right. He is wrong. So now let me,
in the
JC.
churches, they have-
He's not listening.
The churches.
He's not listening. So I'm just going to
fathers-
speak to the crowd, ladies and gentlemen.
the
So I'm
clergy
going to
and
take a step over here and reply to his comments. So the Muslims said
What did he say?
that we can't trust the Bible because the Bible has been changed.
Okay.
But the Muslims have different hadiths.
Okay.
The Sunni and the Shia have different hadiths, and they don't agree which hadiths to follow. So they dispute with one another about which books to believe in. So his accusation is actually true about his own religion. Secondly, there are multiple versions of the
You
Quran,
have one book.
and the multiple
We have one
versions
book.
of the Quran
25,000
have different words
Old
that
Testament.
change the local meaning of the verse. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a second accusation that he made happens to be true about his own religion. His third accusation was that Christianity is all about money and that we've sold our religion and we just accept anything, even gay marriage. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, Christians who follow money are not Christians. Jesus Christ clearly condemns that man cannot have two gods. I'll come to him. Man cannot have two gods. You cannot worship God and money. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve God and money. Those bishops who teach things like gay marriage have abandoned the faith. They are not Christian leaders. They are not Christians. They are apostates. And they should be excommunicated from the church. But now let me ask him a question. Because, no, I'm going to ask you a question.
Tell me, prove
I'm going to ask you a question.
Mention inside
I'm going to ask you a question.
Bible.
Yeah, I'm
Show
going to
me
ask you a
Bible,
question now.
please.
You've asked me questions, so now I'm going to ask you a question.
Never ask you a question.
I'm asking you a question. You
I
did it.
never
Yes,
asked.
you did. I have you on camera asking me a question.
What
Now
was-
I'm going to
what
ask you a
was my
question. You asked me about Jesus Christ rising from the dead and who was in control of the universe. That was your question. It's on camera. You asked me a question. Am I going to ask you a question? So now here's my
He's the
question.
one who asked me.
Now here's my question to you. Here's my question. And you can join in as
Where's
well.
the Bible
You can
inside?
join in as
Mention
well.
Bible
Right?
Ask the question.
Why does Islam discriminate against Christians in the compulsory tax of zakat?
No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Can zakat be given to Christians?
Yes.
Lie.
Why not?
That is a lie. Can zakat be given to
They
Christians?
mentioned in Islam.
Right.
Why can't they?
They don't know. They said yes. Let me prove that they're lying.
How much you want?
Let me prove that they're lying.
You think in yourself?
I'm going to prove that they're lying. Yes. I'm going to prove that they're lying. I'm going to prove that they're lying.
Check it here and you can see.
Right?
You find contradiction there, you don't trust.
Did he say something about Islamic Christianity? What did he say?
He said that the Muslims cannot give zakat to Christians.
Yes, and I'm going to show that that is true.
Charity.
No, it's different.
It's not charity, it's a
not
tax.
charity.
It's not charity, it's a redistributive tax.
So we have to pay tax.
It is a redistributive tax, yes.
now I'm a millionaire, okay? I have a billion, okay?
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, right, are you guys listening? Because you asked me to find
Ask me a
it.
question.
You said that I was lying when I said zakat couldn't be given to Christians. This is from Islam QA. This is a Muslim scholar answering the question about giving zakat to the kafirs. Kafirs. Zakat is a redistributive tax taken from rich Muslims and given to poor Muslims. It is not charity, it is a tax. It says, this is the Muslim scholar, it is not permissible.
Scholar's name.
From Islam QA, go and look it up.
No, scholar's
It
name.
is not permissible to give zakat on one's wealth or crops or zakat al-fitra to the unbelievers, even if they are poor,
Okay.
even if they are wayfarers, even if they are debtors. And if one who gives zakat to them, it is not counted as
I'm asking
zakat.
you. You are
So
kafir.
Islam has a discriminatory tax against Christians and Jews.
What is kafir?
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Just say that.
Kafir, what is kafir, brother? Kafir. You are mushrik, brother, in Arabic language. You are mushrik.
yes, it's a tax.
Kafir.
How is
Kafir
that
is atheist.
discriminating against Christians and Jews?
So if we had a tax that didn't benefit all citizens, would you say that that was discriminatory?
If
Kafir.
rich
Brother,
Christians
kafir
were
is
taxed
atheist,
to
brother.
the
Don't
poor
mix it up and
Christians,
down,
would
huh?
that be an issue with you?
Yes, it would,
Why?
because as a Christian, I believe in charity.
Are you a rich Christian?
Are you gonna let me answer your question? Right. You've asked the question, would I as a Christian have a problem with taking tax from rich Christians and only giving it to poor Christians? I'm going to answer that question. Yes, I would have a problem with that. And here is why. As a Christian, I believe, right? As a Christian, I believe that the state should work for the good of all. That every human being, regardless of their religion, is made in the image of
the
God.
state does not
Allow
follow
me to
Christianity.
finish. Allow me to
State
finish.
does not follow
Allow me to
Christianity.
finish, because you asked the question, right? So you've got to listen to the answer. It's only fair, right? I believe that the state, whether it does or it doesn't, is a different question. But I believe that a good state should work for the benefit of all of its citizens, because I believe that all people are made in the image of God and therefore should be treated with equal dignity under the law. That's what I believe as a Christian. And Islam, if I lived in an Islamic state, I would be treated as a second-class citizen. I have a problem with that because I have a problem with discrimination.
Who said that?
Tell me, do you have
An
a...
Egyptian is
So,
Catholic.
you
and
said,
Muslim
who
even
said that?
together. Every
You
brother is
said, who said
Pakistani.
that?
It's all Muslim.
You said, who said that? You said, who said that? You said, who
My
said
grandfather
that?
is coming.
I will tell you who said that.
Wait.
Islam QA is... Get off. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself. Right?
If you were a Muslim,
Stop touching each other.
Yeah.
You as well. It applies to you as
question
well.
is-
No, one second.
Kafir,
One
you are not
second.
kafir in
One
Arab
second.
Muslim.
One second. You're saying who said that?
Kafir, you are not
Muslim scholars say that. That's who say that.
kafir. Brother.
Right? Do you believe in following the Muslim scholars in their
Of course,
field?
but
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Wait.
And they're all cheering.
Yes, I do.
Right.
Brother, just 1 second.
So
Give me a chance.
zakat, according to your Muslim scholars,
You are not
it is
kafir.
not permissible
It's for
to
kafir.
give zakat on one's wealth or crops
Christianity.
to
Mushrik.
unbelievers,
You are mushrik, brother.
even if they are poor.
You are mushrik, brother.
Even if they are poor.
You are mushrik, brother. You
Yeah,
are
go on.
mushrik.
You ask a question.
You are mushrik. No,
Yeah, go and ask the question.
Please.
Kafir.
Let him ask.
Is that from the Quran or the Hadith?
Okay. So the answer to the question is that it will be taken from both.
Right,
Muslim
so the answer
scholars,
is-
Muslim scholars use the Quran and the Hadiths to create fiqh, and their fiqh is what governs Sharia. Is that fair or correct? That is true. That is true.
One second. But you have to prove the claim.
I just
Claiming
did.
something. No, you're mentioning a scholar, Muslim scholar.
So you
And
disagree?
who's that scholar? What is
So
the name?
all right, here's my challenge. Here's my challenge.
Give us the name.
Okay, here's my challenge.
Give us the name.
Here's
Give
my
us the
challenge.
words from the Quran and the Hadith.
Here's my challenge. Here's my challenge. If you think I'm lying, bring up the Muslim scholar that says you can give zakat to Christians. Go on, work together. Get out your phones. Google it. Show me the scholar that says it.
Hold on. We are a duty.
And that's not zakat according to Muslim scholars.
Please. Why not? Please.
Because you can't give zakat to unbelievers.
Please.
Prove us from the Quran or Hadith.
Please.
Christian or not
Look, we want to.
Who's we?
Me and him.
Every person.
Who's every person?
Everyone here.
How do you speaking for me?
All right. In that case, you speak as a Christian.
Yes, I'll speak as a Christian. Thank you.
You say, which is not factual.
What? Go on. What?
That it is the word. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Right? The Prophet, peace be upon him. Right? I'm a Christian. Okay, but that is respect to you. We are all people of the book.
Yes. No, we're not.
Yes.
No, we're not.
Yes.
No, we're not.
What do we mean?
No, we're not.
What do we mean?
No, we're not.
No,
we're not. That's an Islamic term, not a Christian term.
Makes no difference.
Show me people of the book in the Bible. No, you're not talking authentically about the Christianity.
You're not.
You're not talking
Because
authentically.
Jews, Christians.
We're not people of the book.
Please.
That's an Islamic lie.
No, it's not an Islamic lie.
That is not what we believe.
It's not an Islamic lie.
It is an Islamic lie.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
That's your personal view.
And it
Let me
is
tell
an
you what.
Islamic lie.
Let me tell you what the evidence is. The objective.
To what? To the zakat question?
No,
you're not. No. The question is about zakat. Have a conversation about zakat. Don't change the topic.
No, please.
We're talking about zakat. Yes, we are.
No, we're getting.
No, we're talking about zakat. We're talking about zakat.
Well, you made your point.
Right. Well, if you don't want to talk about zakat, I'm going to find someone that wants to talk about zakat. Talk about zakat.
What you mean is.
Yes, it's about zakat.
You mean.
Go on.
That you are not practicing, in my view, okay, what the Lord Jesus Christ, who's the second prophet in Islam, okay.
You know Jesus Christ is the Son of God, right? Do you believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God?
I've been brought up to say things.
Do you believe it?
He's a prophet from God.
Do you believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God?
Please, can I finish? You ask monosyllabic, simple questions where you think that there is one absolute
No Christian would struggle to answer this question.
Right.
Do you believe Jesus
What
Christ
did I
is
say?
the Son of
What
God?
did I just say?
I didn't hear you answer.
Right, let me
I'm
just say
asking
to you, we were all brought up as Christians to
Still
believe.
not answering my question.
I just told you that.
Do you believe
I
that
just
Jesus
acknowledged
Christ
that.
is the Son of God?
Personally,
Yes.
that is my faith.
Right. Do
Right,
you
thank
think
you.
a Muslim believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God?
Well, of course he doesn't. What does
Right.
that
So we're not the same faith, are we? So we're not the same faith, are we?
Please.
So we're not the same faith, are we?
What you are
Is
doing,
that the same faith?
what you are doing,
Is that the same
what
faith?
you are doing
Is that
is your belligerence underlies your attitude of intolerance. And that is
What?
what Jesus taught.
what did Jesus teach?
Jesus
What
taught.
did Jesus teach? He said,
Love your enemy.
He said, what did Jesus teach?
Love
I
thy
have
enemy.
not come to bring, I have come to bring a sword, to turn father against son, against mother, against daughter,
love your
to
enemies,
turn neighbor
Use a sword,
against
kill the
neighbor.
people.
I have
That's
come
not what did he
that
say?
those,
Love thy neighbour
that
as
those who
yourself.
are not for
Right,
me
you
are
being
against
selective.
me.
You are being
You
selective.
don't know what
No,
Jesus
you
taught.
don't know.
You
because
don't know what
you
Jesus
missed
taught.
the spiritual point.
Loving
and
your
you take-
neighbour
you take things out
is
of
not
context.
about saying
Let me
everybody
tell
believes
you-
the same.
Let me tell you where the
Here's
problems
the problem. Here's the problem.
We all share
Your
the Old
politics,
Testament.
your
That's
politics
now.
is
Hey,
guiding your religion. Your politics is guiding your
How do you know
religion.
what my politics
You
are?
haven't been discipled by Jesus
What's
Christ.
politics?
You have been discipled by
are
liberal,
politics?
progressive politics.
I'm not.
That's
I'm not.
what's happening
You
here.
have a self-serving.
You are not claiming. You're not
Sure.
claiming.
It's
You're
self-serving.
trying to change the topic.
No, you are. And
You're
people like
aggravated
you
because
and
you
others
don't
like
understand
you,
the issues.
No,
You lie as a Christian.
Do you agree with
It's
apartheid?
being misleading. His talk
Apartheid
is the talk that leads to conflict.
Yes, I have. Do you know what Jesus Christ taught? So how would you be able to, sister, with respect, if you don't know what Jesus Christ taught, how would you know whether or not I've been discipled by him?
It's because you believe Christ made like that.
What, sorry?
That's exactly right. This
Right,
man,
that is
this
your
man
personal
is
belief,
one
and I accept
holy,
it, right?
who is a
But that still
political
doesn't
figure.
actually address what I just said.
Figure.
Because for me, even though you don't believe it, I believe Jesus Christ is real. You're making the accusation that I have not been discipled by Jesus Christ. For that accusation to be true, you actually have to understand what I believe that Jesus Christ said. Do you see the logic? Right, so my point is, I recognise when you come to Speaker's Corner, it's an intense place, passions get aroused, that's fine, it's very exciting. I got excited when I first came here as well. But my point to you is, sister, is you've got aggravated because you heard a little snippet of something and you don't understand all the issues, okay? You need to go and look at how Christians have suffered under Islamic Sharia law and to understand why I'm... Well, let's go over there and I'll educate you.
Of course he does.
Yeah, don't... She's a minor. Don't put her on camera. Yeah, she's going to film me, he's not going to film you. I'm guessing that's because you're young, right? And therefore we shouldn't put you on camera. Right? So my point to you is that the criticism that I was trying to make that was rudely interrupted is that, well, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Is that if you look, because I'm a student of religion, so I've looked into different religions, academically at university level, right? And Christians in an Islamic state are led to be second-class citizens, right? And in a whole host of ways. And one of the ways that I was trying to demonstrate that was through this tax called Zakat, right? The thing is, if you create a society in which some Christians end up having less rights than others, you create an apartheid. That's what an apartheid means. So you have examples of apartheid in America and in South Africa where it was a racial apartheid. Black people had less rights than white people. That's what I mean by apartheid. The thing is, under Sharia law, I, as a Christian, become a second-class citizen. Why? One, I can never be a caliph, I can never be the leader of the country. Two, I can never have authority over a Muslim. Three, I am discriminated in the tax system because zakat can only be given to Muslims, it can't be given to me even if I'm poor. Three, I have to pay a jizya tax. That means that I am sort of subjugated and humiliated. That's literally what the tax is about, right? Now the thing is, if I, say, started a political party in which I wanted to say things like Muslims couldn't practice their religion fully in this country, right? That they couldn't proselytize, they couldn't convert, they couldn't marry, Christian women couldn't marry Muslim men. Would you say that that was Islamophobic? And you would be right, because that is Islamophobic. But all of those rules that I've just described to you, they all exist in Islam. Now, is it fair then for me as a Christian to be angry about that? Is it fair as me as a Christian to say that that is wrong? What, sorry? With all of the examples, like in Islam, even if a Muslim woman wants to marry a Christian man, it's not allowed. Right, is that not... If we say it's Islamophobic, if we did it to Muslims, is it not Christophobic if they do it to us? It's the same. And that's what I'm arguing against. And I don't think I'm wrong for arguing against it. How are we doing, Amir?
I'm great, how are you?
This is Amir, he's a nice person.
I want to ask you something then. If you as a Christian, you cannot become governor or ruler, is that maybe because, would you abide by the Sharia if you were a governor or ruler, or would you put Christian rules in place?
Okay, so the answer to the question is, of course, as a Christian, I would seek to undermine the Sharia. Now, why? Let me finish.
That's why.
But why? Why? Because Sharia law is intrinsically discriminatory, and I believe as a Christian, according to what the Bible teaches, that people should be treated equal under the law. But Sharia law says that quite literally under the law, you would have more rights than me. Doesn't it say that?
Okay.
Be honest.
Give me examples.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Example number one. in the Sharia law, if I become a Muslim, is that allowed?
Yes.
If you become a Christian,
Yes.
what does Sharia law stipulate for you?
Death.
Death. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Right? So if under Sharia law, if I become a Muslim, that's okay, but if he becomes a Christian, he should be executed. Is that fair?
I believe so.
He believes so.
Wait,
So Islam teaches discrimination. Wait. No, you wanted you wanted examples. That was example number one. Example number two. Wait, no, example number two. I'll give example. You can come back to it.
Okay.
Example number two.
All right.
The blood money that's paid, right?
The what?
Blood money, the diya, the blood money, life for life, like that.
Yes,
That the teaching.
fidya,
What's it called?
Fidya.
Fidya, right. In Islam,
Yes.
if a Christian kills a Muslim, what is the maximum punishment that can happen to that Christian?
Death.
Death.
Yes.
If a Muslim kills a Christian, can they be executed?
I think so.
No,
I believe
they
so.
can't. Amir, you know me. I've checked
I
it.
said I think so.
Amir, I'm telling you, they can't.
Lying.
No, he's not lying. He's just being genuine.
Okay.
You can be genuinely wrong. Amir, I promise you that under the concept of the life for life, blood for blood, the punishment for the killing of a Muslim by a Christian cannot be met with a death penalty. According to the blood money system, the blood money that is paid for a Christian is half that of a Muslim. Are you aware of that?
Can you repeat that, sir?
So if, say, me and you are run down by someone in the street, right? And our two families in a Sharia court system go to the judge and say, we want blood money.
Yes.
Right? We both demand blood money. The value for my life is half that of yours. Are you aware of that?
I know.
Right, I'm telling you, I'll show it to you when we meet, because me and you are going to meet again. I'll bring you all the evidence. It's true.
Okay.
Now, so that's example number two.
Yeah.
Example number three.
All right.
Example number three.
All right.
Under the Pact of Umar, right? Under the Pact of Umar, Christians were not allowed to ring their bells. They were not allowed to process in the streets. They were not allowed to display a cross publicly. In Islamic law, do you recognize that these things are not allowed? Like, yes. Right. So my point. So, but, if someone was to say that Muslims couldn't display their faith publicly, would you say that was discrimination? Only Muslims couldn't display their faith. Yes, exactly. But my point to you is, Amir is telling you that what I've just said is true. That if you go to Saudi Arabia or Iran, which are two countries, or Afghanistan, which are three countries that practice Sharia law, a Christian cross cannot be displayed in public. Christians can't process in the streets, which is what we do in our faith. We can't evangelize, which is what we do in our faith. If we did that to Muslims, you all recognize that would be discrimination, but Sharia law says that they can discriminate against us. And I'm saying that is wrong, and I'm saying that we should stand against it, and you're not doing anything wrong for standing against it. So I've given you three examples, now come back.
Remind me of your first example.
So the first example, Amir.
Yes.
Well, I would actually like to talk about Zakat.
Yes, go on.
Right? So Zakat would be another example of this kind of discrimination.
Let me go back to the first, because I remember I had something to say.
Okay, talk about killing Christians who've left Islam.
Killing Christians.
Executing Christians who've left Islam.
Would you not believe that maybe because it's the true religion, a religion may be the true religion, just as a hypothesis, if it's the true religion, that God would make it hard for people to leave it?
Right. So I would say that if someone has decided to leave the religion in their heart, they have already left.
Yes.
And that there is nothing you can do to stop them. And the point of the apostate execution is a sign of Islam's weakness, because it's saying that we're going to put a gun to your head, that you have to publicly pretend that you're still a Muslim, even though you've already abandoned the deen in your heart.
I mean,
do you know, Amir, there's loads of Muslims pretending to be Muslims that are atheist in the Islamic world.
Sure, of course.
Now, why are they doing that?
I don't know, because
they're frightened of punishment.
Yeah.
They're frightened of discrimination. But they're literally going to the mosque and being hypocrites. They're going to the mosque and doing the prostrations even though they don't even believe in God. And they're doing it because the discrimination against non-believers in the Islamic world means that they're afraid to say that they don't believe. And it's the same with Christians. We know that there are Christians going to mosque. And they're going to mosque and doing salah in the mosque, and in their heads they're praying to Jesus. And they're doing it because if they come out publicly and say that they've become Christian, they could be killed or discriminated against.
I wouldn't mind discrimination, but
Right, now here's the thing. If this country passed a law that said if you converted to Islam, we'll execute you, would you object to that law?
probably.
Probably. So my point to you is, bro, is that your own heart is telling you that Sharia law is unjust. Because you would be right to object to such a law.
What I would say is that Sharia law would.
Your conscience is given to you by God.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know that we could dispute about which book to believe in.
Yeah.
But you know that God created you and gave you a conscience.
Yeah.
Right? But your conscience objects to the kind of discriminatory practices that you are trying to defend if they were put against me. And that means that which God has given you is telling you that which the Muslims have given you in your hand, i.e. the Quran and the Hadith, are wrong.
No.
The Christian.
I'm coming back to the same point. All Sharia is like this is the secondary thing for me because it only proves or disproves something.
Yeah.
Because it all helps prove or it helps disprove, but it doesn't prove or disprove anything.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So let's talk about Zakat.
Okay.
Because I think that Zakat is one of the ways that we can demonstrate the truth of Christianity over Islam. Right? Here's my criticism of Zakat. Criticism number one. Zakat is a discriminatory tax that discriminates against non-Muslims. Criticism number two. Zakat limits goodness in the world. It restrains goodness in the world. Criticism number three. There are better examples of tax, redistributive tax than Zakat. There are superior tax systems to Zakat, right? If Zakat is the best is part of the best religion and deen in the world, then Zakat should be the best tax in the world. And I've given you 3 reasons why Zakat is false. Now I can evidence all of those reasons if you want me to, but I think you know what I'm driving at.
Yeah, I know.
Right, so Zakat is a tax. A redistributive, it is a redistributive, it is a tax. No, it's a tax.
It is a tax.
It's a tax. No, it's redistributive tax. Come on, join in the conversation then.
In Islam, there are 2 types of charities in what we call
Right.
Zakat
Yep.
and Sadaqah.
Yeah.
So the point you were arguing upon that Zakat cannot be given to non-Muslims. Thing is that Sadaqah can be given to non-Muslims, and from the time of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him,
Right.
Zakat was an act that united the Muslim Ummah.
Okay, let me reply to that. I'm going to reply to that by just saying that you're utterly wrong. Let me finish. I listen to you. Firstly, if something is an obligation that is enforced by the state, it isn't charity. Zakat is enforced by an Islamic state, and therefore it is not charity, because if you refuse to give zakat because you don't believe that you should, according to Islamic deen, you're not a Muslim. And an Islamic state will punish someone who does not pay his zakat. So it isn't charity. So that's where you're wrong on number 1. You're wrong on number 2. Because quoting from Islam QA, which is a Salafist website of a Muslim scholar, it states this: it is not permissible to give zakat on one's wealth or crops, or zakat al-fitra to kafirs, that's unbelievers, even if they are poor, or wayfarers, or debtors. And if one gives zakat to them, it is not counted as zakat. So you're wrong in your first statement, and you're wrong in your second statement.
Can I complete now?
Yeah.
I never said that zakat can be given to non-Muslims. I am not saying that, nor is he saying
I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
No, that's not what I said.
you check the recording, I am telling you. Zakat cannot be given to non-Muslims. I said that like 2 minutes
So it is a discriminatory tax.
It cannot be given to non-Muslims.
Right, so it's a discriminatory tax.
Sadaqah can be given to non-Muslims.
We're not talking about zakah, we're talking about
That's the
zakat.
thing. It is interconnected, both the charities.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
No,
That's the thing.
zakat is a discriminatory
No,
tax. That's
what-
the criticism.
That's what you are saying. I never
Wait,
said
what's discrimination?
it's not discrimination because
What is discrimination?
can I ask because you're countering my question?
Yeah, go on.
No, absolutely
Go
not.
on.
I told you zakat and sadaqah are two different types of charities, and then if you cannot give zakat to non-Muslims, you can give sadaqah to non-Muslims, and you're totally running away from that fact.
Right, so let me reply to that.
And I want to clear myself. I never said zakat cannot be given to non-Muslims.
Right, so let me reply to that because he's not listening to the criticism. The criticism is not that Muslims can give sadaqah to non-Muslims. That's not a criticism. I'm not. Wait. You wanted to be listened to, right? That's not the criticism I'm making. The criticism that I'm making is zakat is a discriminatory tax. That's the criticism that I'm making. I'm criticizing zakat for three reasons. I'm going to explain. One, zakat is a discriminatory tax. That's criticism number one. Criticism number two is that zakat is it restricts goodness. It restricts the good that you can do because you can't move it above 2.5%. It's capped at 2.5%, which leads to my third criticism of zakat. And my third criticism of zakat is that there are better tax redistributive systems in the world today that outdo zakat. And if Islam is the perfect religion with a perfect system, how is it we've got better tax systems than the Islamic zakat system? That's my criticism.
So first, on your first criticism, thank you very much. You made your points. So first, how can zakat be discriminatory when it is a burden on Muslims? This is first, because when you talk about discrimination, is in the context of giving rights. Okay, so first, zakat is a burden on Muslims. How can it be discriminatory when it is a burden? This is first. Second, it is capped. Why? It is capped because it is a progressive, let's say, tax. It's a compulsory charity, not tax, but it's a progressive. It means that the wealthiest man pays more. Why? Because if you apply 2.5 on its wealth, it will be more than a less wealthiest person. It is capped to not, for the government of Islamic government to not abuse it and change it and increase it. Why? Because they are failing their expenditure policies. So it is capped and regulated to protect Muslims who are paying. Thirdly, I join you when you say there is other symmetric systems where it is highly recommended that you implement it instead of zakat. Is that right? That's what you said, yeah? Yeah.
Go on,
Okay, so yeah, I just finished the third point. So Islam in general, of course, impose zakat on Muslims. However, it does also can back that with taxes for other expenditures like the army, hospitals, roads, etc. with minor taxes.
Can I reply now?
I didn't finish. So the taxes, the tax system with the zakat is not completely forbidden in Islam. We can use it. However, the zakat, which is compulsory charity, is you need to give it to certain types.
Okay, so allow me to reply, bro.
They are protected. Okay? So I reply to your first, second, and third.
Okay,
criticism.
so let me reply. You ready?
Action.
So the reason why it is a discriminatory tax is we've got to recognize what a discriminatory tax is. If a tax is only applied to one people for the benefit of one people, then it is discriminatory if the benefit is not to all of its citizens.
Yes.
Now, and this is what we see in zakat. It is taken from rich Muslims and only given to poor Muslims.
No.
And no, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
No,
Right, from this point forward, I am going to interrupt you whenever I want. If you interrupt me again, if you interrupt me again, I will interrupt you whenever I want.
Okay.
So, it is a discriminatory tax because it cannot be given. It cannot be given to. It cannot be given, and I'm now going to interrupt you whenever I want. It cannot be given to Christians or Jews. So it is discriminatory. And the argument was that we can have other taxes that create other public kind of institutions that benefit everybody. But if you create roads from other taxes and hospitals from other taxes, then the Muslims also benefit. So that means they have a double benefit. They receive from the general tax and they receive from the special tax. And there is no equivalent obligated in Islamic law for the Christians. There is no equivalent tax that's taken from rich Christians and distributed to poor Christians. It doesn't exist, and therefore that is discrimination. Secondly, the criticism that it caps the good. The maximum, and the brother tried to do a bit of taqiyya here. He tried to do a bit of a lie here. He tried to say it was obligatory charity. Obligatory charity is not charity. If it's obligatory, it's a tax. If it's enforced by the state, it's a tax. Tax is a free offering, a free donation that you do from your heart. That's what the scripture's saying. We'll come on to the Christian equivalent. The third defense of my argument is that there are better systems of tax than zakat. Example, the British system of tax. We give over 20% of our national budget in redistributive taxes, ladies and gentlemen. Over 20%. And then when we include the NHS, together with the welfare state, over 50% of our tax burden is redistributive in nature to help the poor. Zakat limits it at 2.5%. The problem with that is, as you can see across the Islamic world, is poverty is everywhere across the Islamic world. Some of the richest people in the world are Muslims, these emirs. And the maximum that they can give is 2.5%. Would you like to do it timed? Because I'm going to interrupt you. We're going to do it timed, but don't complain when I interrupt you, because you interrupted me.
No, I'm listening to you respectfully. I didn't interrupt.
Yes, you did, and you're interrupting me right now. Still, you're interrupting right now.
We need to be fair.
Let's do it timed. Yeah? So can we get a timer? We're going to do 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Do you want to time it, Amir? I trust Amir.
You need to count how much he spoke. Okay.
No, we're going to do 3 minutes, 3 minutes from here.
You already
Brother, you jumped into my conversation.
Okay. No, you accepted me.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to be
fair. So let's do 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
Need to be fair.
So we'll start 3 minutes. We're doing 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
So if you start again, I will speak 6 minutes.
Brother,
This gentleman is laughing because he knows that.
He can laugh. He can laugh. No, brother. Right. Let's be clear. You wanted to join this conversation that I was having with this brother. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, he's obviously lost his ability to conduct himself. He is interrupting. Right now he's interrupting.
Do you want to get 1 minute to wrap it up, and then he gets 4 minutes, and then you can get that?
And then 4 minutes, 4 minutes. No.